Welcome back to That Sound podcast, and on today's episode we are going to talk about Nightlife, the fourth studio album released by Thin Lizzy. Nightlife was released on the 8th of November 1974 on Vertigo Records. It was produced by Ron Nevison, an American producer and sound engineer. Ron started his career as an engineer on Quadrophenia by The Who and Bad Company's debut album. Outside of working with Thin Lizzy, Ron also produced albums for Led Zeppelin, UFO, Kiss, Ozzy Osbourne, and many, many more. Phil Lynott was also credited as a producer on this album. This album was quite different from the previous, and another big step up in quality regarding sound, songwriting and song structure. This likely had something to do with the new lineup of the band. This album was the first time that we saw Thin Lizzy as a quartet. The introduction of Scott Gorham and Brian Robertson on guitar would change the sound of Thin Lizzy forever. Gary Moore is credited for his performance on Still in Love with You, although often forgotten about as Gary was absent from the band's live lineup when this album was released.
I'm still in love with you. My head keeps on reeling.
Stephen Thomas Erlewine of AllMusic described Nightlife as an underrated gem of a record, but a complete anomaly within their catalogue. Subdued, soulful record, smooth in ways that Thin Lizzy never were before and rarely were afterwards. He added that the track She Knows in particular struck him as gently propulsive and utterly addictive.
She knows, and she gives her everything. She knows, and she can do a thing. She knows, and she tries her best. She knows.
Yet, tracks like It's Only Money and Sha La La showed moments of tough primal rock and roll. Martin Popoff judged the album as more enigmatic, sincere and philosophically complex than much else rock and roll out there at the time, but also too distant from the band's heart and soul, and overtly into black music, with Lynott searching for ways to pay homage to his racial heritage. I would agree with his first part of the statement, yet the second part I couldn't disagree with more. In my opinion, I actually think that's bullshit, and an attempt to dismiss a band embracing their creativity. To me, Thin Lizzy were still finding their signature sound during the recording of Nightlife. If Nightlife shows us anything, it shows us that each member of the band were incredibly talented and versatile, with an extremely good understanding of many musical styles and genres. The album was recorded at two separate locations, one being Saturn in Worthing and the other being Trident and Olympic in London. The album was recorded between April and September of '74. Jim Fitzpatrick was summoned yet again for the duties of cover art. The cover shows a panther-like creature in a city scene. Many thought the panther represented Phil Lynott, although Fitzpatrick would later confirm that the panther referred to the Black Panthers and African American political figures like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. Regarding the track list on Nightlife, each song is every bit as good as the other. Nightlife brings us top-tier songwriting, musicianship and musicality. Phil displays his depth and genius lyrical ability throughout this album. Yet tracks like Still in Love with You, Frankie Carroll, Philomena, which he wrote for his mother, and Dear Heart shine particularly bright.
Still in love with you.
Brian Downey shows us that his pockets are very, very deep throughout this album as he makes incredible groove choices. Yet he reminds us how musical his soloing ability is toward the end of the track, Shalala. The new dual guitar team of Scott Gorham and Brian Robertson immediately make their presence known, heard and felt, making a hell of a first impression. Thin Lizzy's Nightlife gets a 10 out of 10 from me. An absolutely magnificent album from start to finish. Let us know in the comments below, what is your favourite track from this album? I think it's one of the most underrated albums in Thin Lizzy's discography, and it's definitely one that I didn't give enough time to, or enough appreciation to, or have enough respect for up until lately. It's only now I see how great this album is. Let us know your thoughts on this album in the comments below. If you have any stories about the album, or you are at any of the gigs around the time of this album's release or the subsequent tour, let us know in the comments below.
I'm still in